But at least a dry for now, wrapping up finish to the day here on October 7th. Taking a view from our SkyTrack network of downtown Louisville and enjoying the nighttime sky. But those are the traces up there in the clouds of what we were kind of dealing with, the worst of the rain. And let's get right to that as we walk you through some of the video that our crews have been getting throughout the day. And part of that is, issues on the road started early this morning. Plenty of them, of course, dealing with or resulting in crashes. There's one involving a JCBS bus. You see that car. The driver certainly just had to abandon that underpass for the sake of safety. The rain, needless to say, creating that mess. Louisville Metro Emergency Services were getting more than a dozen calls for rescues, and that only got more active as the day wore on. So we saw cars stopped in several feet of water. Some were clear enough to be wheeled out. As the saying goes, though, we remind you all the time, turn around, don't drown. This was one case of that. This pickup, I think, noticing just how deep the water could be in this part of town, just turning around. At some point around 5 o'clock is when we really started to dry out, the sun moving through with the clouds, that hours of heavy rain blocking things off. Want to, walk you through some of the list of locations. So we were there involving a situation at 13th and Oak. There have been issues there for years with the viaducts that are prone to flooding. Back in 2018, there was a cab driver who unfortunately drowned stalling out of the same spot. For the most part, caution tape kept drivers and walkers, passersby, well back from the danger spot. Not everyone was as lucky. In fact, shout out to one of our photojournalists, Wave News' Mark Scheller. He captured the moments, and I'm going to see if we can find it around as just more of this rain was coming down. But Mark, and we'll point you to tonight on Wave News at 11 for the specific video. But he captured the moment someone tried to push their car out of the water on Bernheim Lane. Not just the normal problem spots either. There was look at places like Radiance Road in the Bon Air neighborhood. There was a school bus you saw a little bit there that stopped and went in reverse to avoid the water. Here you're seeing the MSD trucks setting up those barricades to let people know this is not a safe space, even around drainage grates and the like. So certainly quite a busy day when it comes to all the rain that was coming, and certainly a lot of it was needed as far as the drought was concerned. Wedged. And see if we can, okay, this may be a different video. So I'm wondering, this is the danger of that sometimes. Let's take a look here. This might be to something we're going to show you a little bit later. Let's come back here in the studio tonight. I'm Jose Sosaya. In case you folks are just joining us now, whether that's through the Wave Now app on your smart TV devices or on our social media here, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. Let's see. What I was going to point out, of course, the bevy of videos we do have collected. One of those referred to, I believe it was pretty much a sinkhole. There was a collapsed pipe. For folks in Jeffersontown, maybe you drove by or caught wind of what had happened. This was a Plantside Drive at the Commerce Park between Bunsen Way and Caton Drive. There was a collapsed pipe under the road. We did get some pictures of the sinkhole left behind. Right now, it's not clear just yet how long it's going to fully take for road crews to fix what played out with just the deluge of water that we were taking a look at throughout the day. What I'm going to set up for you, though, is sort of an overarching look, again, with more details from our Wave News reporter, Logan Perrone, who was out there getting a look at several of these, water-rushed scenes and how emergency crews, MSD crews, were just simply trying to, rescue people who were stuck or warn drivers to stay away from these really problematic spots around town.
Flooding across the metro was abundant, but nowhere more clear than right here at about 13th and Oak Street under the viaduct. This car got stuck in the water. It was about up to here when I was out here earlier in the day, but you can see the water got about as high up as about midway, almost all the way to the windshield here. Now, this is an area that we've reported on for years. These viaducts, because of the way they're designed, they're prone to flooding. In fact, in 2018, right where I'm standing, a cab driver, same situation. He got stuck. He didn't make it. He passed away here. Now, for the most part, caution tape did keep onlookers and other drivers back later in the afternoon, but not everyone was as lucky. Our photojournalist Mark Scheller captured the moment someone tried to push their car out of flood water on Bernheim Lane, and it wasn't just our normal problem spots that were dealing with this. This is Radiance Road in the Bon Air neighborhood, and we actually watched as a school bus driver went in reverse to avoid the water. Both MetroSafe and MSD tell us they've had busy days today. MetroSafe fielded about a dozen calls for cars just like this one that were stuck in water. And MSD says they had about 250 calls for a variety of issues. Reporting in Louisville, Logan Perone, Wave News.
Thanks to Logan and all the photojournalists who spent time today going to the different scenes. And thankfully, in this case, no one suffering the worst of the consequences, but certainly very scary situations. At a moment like this, for those of you who might have tuned in very recently, in fact, it might have been last week where we had Emergency Management Services Director Jody Myman here for the Metro in studio for a conversation on Wave News Extra and talking about apps and tools that can help people stay away from where these flood-prone zones are and just connecting to those resources when it comes to emergencies. Maybe you would end up in that kind of situation. A reminder that it is called the Lou Ready app. It's the official mobile emergency management app for emergency services, connecting you with first responders if or the time came that unfortunately you just couldn't escape the speed of the water, leaving you stuck or fearing for your life when we do have this kind of rain and the flash flooding potential. It also has access to preparedness resources, more important emergency and weather alerts that would get sent directly to your device. We do have a little bit more on how it works and where you can find that on our website, wave3.com. What I'm going to point out is as we come back here with a look at our downtown nighttime skyline from our SkyTrack network, we do have some more stories beyond just the weather story and all the different parts of town that obviously were affected. In fact, make sure to join us tonight on Wave News at 11 because our reporter Julia Richardson has her own interviews with a couple renters and homeowners here in the Metro. And on a day like today, they say that their particular maintenance issues, things that they've brought up in some cases with MSD, that they're only just exacerbated. So just to look at what today's damage was like after a pretty powerful rain and a sorely needed rain for much of Wave Country in and of itself. So we've got that coming up here in this hour. We do have a couple stories of interest for Kentucky and Southern Indiana and even Ohio families because they have to do one with a new TikTok trend, two separate TikTok trends that are being reported on and brought out as a public service caution by different county sheriff's agencies and deputies in offices out there. And also a new proposal from a Kentucky state lawmaker when it comes to school districts and other districts and organizations of this type, if they would hire a lobbyist to stand on their behalf and make the case to lawmakers for this kind of funding. So a lot to get to, including an update on an investigation by LMPD when it comes to these sort of purse bandits and the latest commentary we got from the detectives involved in trying to solve that case. Much more to discuss. I hope you stick around as we're hitting 8:14. We'll be right back with much more of tonight's Wave News Extra in just a bit. Thanks for sticking with us after this quick break on tonight's stream and live edition of Wave News Extra on this October 7th here in the Wave Now studio. Want to pay some attention to some reporting being done around Kentucky, and of course of interest being here in Jefferson County in the most populated part of the state of Kentucky. Well, a lawmaker is now announcing new legislation that would put an end to taxpayer-funded lobbying, is the subject line for school districts in particular. This is tied to specific issues with Fayette County Public Schools, so this is the case being brought forth as the example, but it could end up impacting the whole state, especially with so much focus on Jefferson County Public Schools and all of the independent schools and even the private districts involved. But of course, that's for private. This would involve when it comes to public funded lobbying. Reporter Kristen Kennedy has the story and talking to this investigative team about what was the catalyst for this and what could be next for lawmakers to debate there on the floor.
The lawmaker told us the superintendent met with her in Frankfort with a lobbyist at his side, talking at the time about FCPS's $16 million deficit. That was the first sign to her of a waste of taxpayer funding. The second sign, our coverage of the FCPS contract with the lobbying firm.
All legislators want to be good partners at the decision-making table and have those relationships with their school superintendents and board chairs and other board members. And so it's about reaching out and letting us know what you need. And you don't need a lobbyist to do that.
State Representative Vanessa Grossel has a personal connection to public education. Her mother was a superintendent of Floyd County Public Schools.
I also taught in Fayette County for 4 years, from 2011 to 2015 at Wellington Elementary. And so, I see the hard work that teachers and administrators do at the school level day in and day out. And I want them to know that we want to support them. We want to give them more resources. And, applying this law to the state would just help us do that.
The law she's proposing would prohibit districts from using public funds to hire third-party lobbyists. There are only a few large districts with budgets big enough to pay for them. FCPS is one.
I see no reason why a school district would need their own lobbyist, because they do have a number of resources and organizations like KEA.
WKYT Investigates found out FCPS paid a lobbying firm $38,000 to promote a failed tax increase. Not all board members were aware of that contract. This was all agreed to at the same time as concerns mounted about the district's budget shortfall.
It feels almost greedy to me, because we know that the funding gaps exist between rural, urban, and these are our most wealthy school districts that have hired lobbyists.
This legislation is just a proposal right now. Representative Grossel's going to put it on paper and officially file it in the next session. For WKYT Investigates, I'm Kristen Kennedy.
And so an update there when it comes to what lawmakers in Frankfort might decide, because again, it still is a proposal. And moving on from something that lawmakers will have to decide to now a call for more public awareness from several now sheriff's departments spread out around Kentucky. Here locally and among LMPD and Jefferson County, we've discussed this sort of trend over the summer when it comes to TikTok in particular, but videos suggesting that there was this popular challenge for young people to ding dong ditch, but even also, taking that a step further, if you're familiar with the old prank, but to, stomp on doors with feet to see what kind of reaction that would draw. And you can visit our reporting of that previously on wave3.com. Well, right now, other state leaders are sounding the alarm of a new trend, saying this is leading to fake crime reports, sending deputies out to fill these out when in the end, nothing actually happened. Reporter Annie Elming explains why authorities say these pranks are leading to criminal charges.
According to the Brown County Sheriff's Office, there have been 2 separate instances of juveniles using artificial intelligence to create and report false home invasions. Now those juveniles are facing criminal charges.
2 homeless people trying to get in my house with my daughter my 14-year-old daughter there.
According to Brown County dispatch records, that caller is referring to a photo her daughter sent her showing two men standing on her porch while her daughter was home alone. Like any concerned parent, she called the police.
I just need to see if I can get any more of a description from you. You said that they're two males and they have beards? Two males with backpacks screaming at her from the back door. One's on my front porch.
The only problem, it wasn't real. When officers arrived, they discovered the photo was created through AI by the caller's 14-year-old daughter's friend, inspired by a TikTok trend to prank her mom. This is one of two incidents of false reports being made with the intent to trigger an emergency law enforcement response, according to the Brown County Sheriff's Office. Authorities say this creates unnecessary danger for deputies responding under emergency conditions and pulls valuable resources away from real emergencies in the community. Tech expert Dave Hatter tells me instances like these can be hard for parents in the moment to decipher what is real and what is AI, which is why it is so dangerous.
If you're just glancing at something, or in a scenario like where you're a parent and your kid is sending you a photo of someone breaking into their house that they created with one of these tools, are you going to scrutinize that carefully enough to go, well, wait a minute, that guy's shirt doesn't have a real logo on it? No, of course you're going to be panicked. Of course you're going to call the police. As a parent, I would do the same thing. I would dial 911.
The sheriff's office is also stressing that teens think about real-world consequences before taking part in online trends. Hatter tells me communication and education between parents and their kids is crucial in preventing instances like we've seen in Brown County.
There's no technological solution I know that can stop this. So without the awareness piece, I don't know how you're going to prevent kids who might think this is funny from doing it again.
We have reached out to local authorities here in Cincinnati, and they say they are unaware of any calls related to this TikTok trend being made. Reporting in Cincinnati, Annie Elming, Fox 19 Now.
So an example there of perhaps just across the river in Ohio, but extending to families in northern Kentucky. And it's certainly something of interest to see how within TikTok, how quickly the virality or the popularity of these challenges would spread. So as this is happening too, for some families on fall break in Jennings County schools, for example. So here you're getting the second part of a warning from sheriff's deputies. Their concern is with another new TikTok trend consisting of what they say kids approaching random homes. And this is where this is similar to the challenges we've talked about before, where someone tries to kick a door open. But the added layer of it, according to the Jennings County deputies, is that some of these would-be viral people on video are using airsoft guns. So those are replica firearms that shoot those non-lethal, non-deadly plastic BBs, but they can still hurt. It seems there's a couple outcomes where if a door's forced open, kids who are recording these videos will shoot the airsoft gun into a home very quickly before running away if the door can't be opened. Kids are apparently standing at the side of these homes and shooting the airsofts at homeowners when they're leaving their house. The sheriff's office was dispatched an incident early Saturday morning. They've tracked down all the people involved. And they're worried that this could get more popular as time goes on. Of course, saying this presents an extreme danger to everybody who's involved. So deputies certainly hoping that parents could talk to kids about the dangers of getting involved in activities like this, and certainly not the safest avenue for sure. All right. Time for another break as we take a look now at a much mistier, and you can see the droplets of water still stuck there on our SkyTrack camera over observing our downtown skyline. And it is 8:25 when we do come back with more of tonight's Wave Extra updates from LMPD on a case of some accused purse snatchers, talking the government shutdown impact on our domestic air travel. If you're thinking of taking any flights relatively soon, a check-in with mobile mammogram clinic offering these resources for women who want, empowering them to take care of their own health, and much more to discuss tonight on Wave News Extras. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back at 8:27 on tonight's Wave News Extra. Appreciate you joining us here in the Wave Now studio on our social media streaming channels and, of course, on the Wave Now app. Let's get to some updates from LMPD, in fact, where they're confirming, or at least the accusations based on an arrest, that a Louisville pastor apparently has admitted to scamming senior citizens in our community thousands of times. Police saying Virgil Mosey and his friend Nathaniel Porter III that they were caught on camera stealing wallets out of shopping carts being used by women in their 70s and 80s. They would then use these stolen cards to buy thousands of dollars worth of gift cards. This is an update, of course, from our reporter, Fernando Garcia Franceschini, digging into Mosey's criminal history and what police had to say about the suspects that they are calling the, quote, Sticky Fingers Bandits. So LMPD telling us Mosey is the pastor at the New Christian Church of Jesus Christ in Hazelwood. I told them that he'd been committing these types of crimes for years. Records show that they go back to 2009 in several other counties. Records that we found show Mosey faced similar charges in 2015 here in Jefferson County, arrested this week alongside Porter. Both are now charged with theft and engaging in organized crime. Officers say both men would go into stores, push carts around to pretend like they were shopping, then find a victim, snatch the wallet, and leave. Police say they would immediately then go to a store, usually a Walgreens, and buy the gift cards that they were looking for.
Before they would do the second part of their crime, they would make sure they changed clothes to try to look different. They were also kind of trying to appear that they weren't with each other when they were doing the crimes, which is something we picked up on the video.
That was Sergeant Joe Keeling with LMPD saying that they've learned the two men were friends who had met at some point at a gym. Now, Wave News crews did stop by the New Christian Church of Jesus Christ today, hoping to get a comment officially from the story. There was someone in the building while we were there, but they did not answer the door when we knocked. So that is the latest. And of course, should anything change, we'll make sure to update you here on air and online. All right, so perhaps not the feeling of deja vu one would want to hear when it comes to sort of similar news stories that happen, because now we learn and confirm there was a private jet that went off the runway at Bowman Field. It had to come to a stop on Seneca Golf Course. So worst could have happened, but the plane was able to land. We know there was heavy rain at the time this was all going on. We don't have official confirmation from federal agents or NTSB investigators if it was a factor, but the rain certainly was a factor keeping people away from playing golf earlier this morning. This happened. Pilots were trying to land in the rain at around 10:15 a.m. Wave News reporter David Mattingly found out people are relieved in the end that no one was hurt.
Its tires and nose wedged in the mud. A Cessna 525B jet with 4 people on board came to a stop 370 feet beyond the end of the runway. The crew was attempting to land when the jet failed to stop. A statement from the airport authority says 2 pilots and 2 passengers were on board the aircraft at the time. All were alert and speaking with airport staff following the incident. Evaluated at the scene, we are told no one needed medical attention. But a mangled fence at the edge of Bowman Field gives some sense of the impact. Capable of carrying up to 8 passengers and weighing in excess of 4 tons, the jet had no trouble flattening metal poles and chain link fencing. This isn't the first time something like this has happened here. June of 2013, a young pilot crashed in the same spot with 3 others on board while practicing takeoffs and landings. All 4 suffered serious injuries. This time, only the aircraft was damaged. The front wheel was sheared off as the jet came through the fence, and there appeared to be damage to a wing.
All right, thanks for David Mattingly there. At our last check this afternoon, the runway was still closed. It is expected, though, to be reopened by tomorrow evening, and we'll check in with the airport authority to confirm that, as presumably NTSB investigators or whoever is in charge of their jurisdiction would look into the official factors for this crash landing out by Bowman Field. An update just for folks in the subject matter when it comes to flying and aviation and travel in that regard. American Airlines says real quick, it's getting rid of metal bag sizers at its gates. If you've flown different airlines and you've had to check to see how big or how stuffed your small suitcase would be or carry-on, see if it was small enough for you to fit it. The airline, though, says the change is simplifying the boarding process. Gate agents will be the ones now tasked with using their own judgment to see if a bag is too big or just the right size. And if not, it needs to be checked. And if they're not sure, to be on the side of the customer. Per the company, sizes will still be available in check-in lobbies so customers can see if their bag is the right size to be carried on early on in the boarding process before going through security and then into those boarding areas. So one process for travelers to think about, or one step in the process. It's also been almost a week since the government shutdown. No particular resolution to the negotiations in sight quite yet. A dozen FAA facilities say they saw air traffic controllers call out sick last night, and that caused staff shortages nationwide. Reporter Ivan Rodriguez has a look at how the federal shutdown is causing this turbulence for the travel industry.
With the government shutdown sliding into its 7th day, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says air traffic controllers are wondering if there's an end in sight.
They're thinking about, am I going to get a paycheck?
Controllers are considered essential workers, so they must work during the shutdown, but are not being paid.
We want to make sure we have air travel safe and controllers focused, not on their mortgages, not on the next paycheck, not on food on the table, but actually on making sure you and your family are safe.
12 FAA facilities saw staffing shortages Monday night. The control towers in Burbank, Phoenix, and Denver had so-called staffing triggers reported in the public FAA operations plan. Other facilities that handle air traffic around airports in Newark, New Jersey, Jacksonville, Florida, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and Indianapolis also were short-staffed, which in some cases caused hours-long delays.
If we have additional sick calls, we will reduce the flow consistent with a rate that's safe for the American people.
Former air traffic controller Harvey Skolnick says anytime a facility isn't staffed properly, it has a ripple effect.
It has an effect on breaks. It has an effect on controllers getting time off. It has an effect on training. And the job is tough enough as it is. And when you have to work 6 days a week, and now you're not getting paid on time, so everything has a cumulative effect on the FAA.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
A reminder, folks, for this kind of news, whether and whenever the government shutdown, for example, if that is resolved and it reopens, certainly one place you can go to for when that breaking news does hit is our website, wave3.com. You can see, of course, here's our Fernando Garcia Francischini's latest reporting on who police had called these sticky bandits with credit card theft. The top story there, updated by our digital team. You can scroll through the main page and see just all the stories that are updated. Go through our different tabs, our original documentaries, our troubleshooters investigation, the storm tracking team's updates on weather for days like today, and looking forward to much sunnier, nicer days ahead. And don't forget, if you haven't already, to make sure you have those push alerts set to receive them on your smartphones on the Wave Now app and on the Wave Weather Now app as well. We're going to take a quick break to go through more of tonight's stories. Going to share them with you coming up after this break on Wave News Extra. .38 on this Tuesday night. Appreciate you sticking with us on Wave News Extra through our Wave Now app, and of course all of our streaming channels that are all connected as you join us tonight on what's been a pretty busy day weather-wise, but thankfully the heaviest of that rain now behind us. And a reminder as we look at what's ahead coming up to the midpoint of the week tomorrow for Wednesday, waking up in the morning, what the rest of this full week of October is going to look like. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnett going to break that down for you tonight on Wave News at 11. So for the folks sticking around for that nighttime, the night owls out there, appreciate you joining us, as we'll have, of course, an update from our reporter Julie Richardson as well, who got to go out there, check in with homeowners and renters as they're now assessing whatever degree of damage that they had to endure. This is something that sort of is exacerbated by some ongoing infrastructure problems that they're trying to now fix as best as they can. Some more stories I want to share with you as we kind of unwind on this Tuesday is something you may have noticed rolling on the roads around town. It's Norton Health's Mobile Prevention and Wellness Center. And the staff's goal, as they put it, is to make it easier for women to get their yearly mammogram, a key exam for patients and for their advocates. Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote is sharing a little more on why this is so important.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer in their lifetime, according to the American Cancer Society. And mammograms are an important tool in the early detection and treatment of breast cancer. A mammogram is used to check for abnormalities that can indicate breast cancer in women who have no symptoms. Inside the Mobile Prevention Center are all the tools that you need to get screened in a regular hospital. That includes mammography technology and an exam room. Megan Russell, a nurse practitioner for Norton Prevention and Wellness, says that thanks to increased awareness, early detection, and new treatments, 99% of early-stage breast cancer patients survive at least 5 years. But the key is early detection.
We're so accessible, so it's pretty hassle-free, but also you know, a mammogram is just so much easier than treating breast cancer. So we try to make it as easy as possible, and it's just so important to find breast cancer early.
The Mobile Prevention Center also offers cervical cancer screenings and pap smears. And thanks to funding from the state, they're able to see patients who are uninsured. If you'd like to learn more about the Mobile Mammogram Center, you can click on this story on our website, wave3.com. Kirsten Foote, Wave News.
As we look ahead for the rest of the week that it's happening, Boo at the Zoo, for example, that's a celebration at the Louisville Zoo that's for the little ones that are going to dress up as little ghosts and goblins. However, the Skelebration is for adults with the time to meet up and have a little party of their own. It's the new after-hours Halloween event. It's actually tomorrow, October 8th. It's also a fundraising event for the zoo's Animal Ambassador program. This is only, again, for adults 21 and up. Because they're the ones who can sip on cocktails, specialty food, and some up-close animal encounters. So again, celebrations going on from 6 to 9 tomorrow. You can find tickets available still on the Louisville Zoo's website. In the world of local sports, the UFL, the United Football League, has now picked 3 new cities for pro football as part of their league. Louisville is one of them. They'll play, ideally, even if it's heavy rain. Lightning will send them back in the locker room. But either way, the league, as it were, has announced the Louisville Kings will be the next of 3 expansion teams coming up next spring, and they're going to call Lynn Family Stadium their home base. The team's website says they chose the name Kings, the nickname Kings, because of King Louis XVI, whose name is the reason Louisville is the city's name. Blanking on the name of what that exact term is. But in essence, Louisville is named after King Louis XVI. It's also a nod to Kentucky's history of horse racing. A schedule for games hasn't been released, but the league says the season is kicking off March 27th, and talked to the folks involved, the stakeholders, a little bit about the excitement to bring this kind of football to the community.
The only stadium that is not an MLS stadium that they're moving to for soccer. You look at Houston and Dallas and these other markets, we're an outlier, and it's an honor to be that outlier because I think it speaks to how elite this venue is and what we have here.
Well, certainly something for fans to look forward to whenever the soccer season for Racing, Louisville, and Lou City is not going on. Another check-in to Dave. Louisville Metro Police paid a special visit to the school not far from Lynn Family Stadium. This is in downtown, but maybe lots of folks don't know that they're doing this kind of work at Nativity Academy at St. Boniface on East Liberty Street. It's an independent Catholic middle school offering scholarships for high-achieving students, but their families might be dealing with some financial challenges. The school's principal invited officers to come visit the students and talk a little bit about the careers that they do.
The main purpose of this visit was to raise awareness both from both sides to and from both organizations. So make sure that the police force is aware of our school here and that our kids are aware of the police force, putting a name and face and real personality behind their police. The police officers that I spoke to one-on-one said that they did not know that we were here. So I think that that's a huge outcome in itself.
Nativity Academy has been around since 2003, serving students in 5th through 8th grades. We're going to wrap up on this story tonight. For any parents joining us on the stream on Wave News Extra, maybe you have kids in that age range that thinks Roblox is the coolest thing, and it's this online platform where the expectation is that kind of self-contained gaming that the kids could get lost in for a while. Tens of millions of kids use this. It's also has its functions as a social media platform, but tonight Roblox is going to have to respond to the Kentucky Attorney General's new lawsuit claiming the platform is a, quote, website of choice for child predators. Wave News anchor Brian Schlonsky was there as Attorney General Russell Coleman broke out, announced the major lawsuit, and one mother commenting as far as when it comes to the case the plaintiffs are making, that parents, she argues, should delete Roblox immediately.
And I thought I was doing everything right. Monitoring devices, setting limits, having open dialogue with my kids.
Courtney Norris lives in Jefferson County, has 3 kids ranging in age from 9 to 14. Her kids played Roblox. It's part of this digital age we live in, until she says she learned of the dangers.
Like many parents, I thought Roblox is a safe choice. I describe it as a fenced-in backyard for kids gaming. And that is the genius and the danger I found of Roblox. The illusion of safety it gives parents like me.
The illusion of safety, the reason Kentucky Attorney General Russell Coleman says he's suing the gaming and social media platform. In the complaint he filed, the AG says kids as young as 6 can get on there without a parent knowing. He says the site creates a playground for child predators and terror organizations where kids are exposed to real-world sex crimes and violence just in cartoon form.
We also learned that after the gruesome assassination of Charlie Kirk, sickening so-called assassination simulators immediately popped up on Roblox. They allowed children as young as 5 to access bloody images of the shooting.
The AG says nearly 2/3 of all kids in the U.S. ages 9 to 12 play games on Roblox. The company is valued at $41 billion. Coleman alleges our children aren't safe on there because of online exploitation from predators. He says he hopes the lawsuit will bring about better age verification, content filters that work, and enhanced parental notifications.
Here is my message to parents. Get your kids off Roblox. Do it today.
That was our Brian Schlonsky with that report. Kentucky is now the second state to file a suit against Roblox. Louisiana did it first in August. Wave News did reach out to Roblox to comment about the lawsuit. We received a statement reading in part, quote, "We share the critically important goal of keeping kids safe online and have years of experience working collaboratively with law enforcement, child safety experts, and families in pursuit of our vision to be the safest platform on the internet." And the statement goes on to say, per Roblox's official stance, is the lawsuit was not based on an in-depth investigation, but instead is based on sensationalized, outdated, and out-of-context information. We believe that plaintiffs' attorneys have misrepresented matters to seek financial gain and that states may be a victim of this misinformation, end quote to that part. And if you're interested on reading the full statement, it is part of Brian's report. And I can bring it up, a reminder where the website would look like here on wave3.com. And just make sure to scroll through, and that will certainly be something on top of, the road closures, talking about the weather, something you will be able to find right here on the main home page. All right, let's bring you back one more time. Outside, not the foggiest lens right now. It seems the mist is kind of cleared out, but still some clouds up in this nighttime sky. We'll certainly be here on Wave News at 11 to break down, look at what happened on this rainy Tuesday, what's in store for us on Wednesday, thanks to the storm tracking team, and much more as we kind of round out this Tuesday night. Always appreciate you joining us here, whether that's through the Wave Now app on your smart TV or on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or X. Always appreciate you connecting with us in that way. By the way, as events might happen when it comes to, impact alert weather days, if there's ever anything you want to share and send our way, there's multiple ways you can connect with us. Again, Facebook would be the great way to do that. You can also do it on X, multiple different avenues. Even with the Wave Weather Now app is a great tool in that regard as well. That's going to do it for us tonight. Make sure to join us on Wave News at 11 coming up in a little less than let's count that out. 2 hours and 11 minutes right now. I'm Jose Sosaya. Appreciate you joining us. We'll see you tomorrow at 8:05.